guys who combined to play 15 seasons in the National Football League trenches. Well, 2 guys. And Mackey, who didn't do shit. This is the O-Line Committee.
Great. Alex has just been Alex thought we were going to record starting 30 minutes ago. So he's just been waiting, lurking.
Between the 5:30 start that we used to have and now this one, and then we went on Friday,
not even right.
and now it's
5:15. That's
okay,
not
whatever,
even right.
Whatever it was. Then we went on Friday, and now all of a sudden, like last night, I got a text like, "Hey, don't forget we're on tomorrow." And I was like, "Shit, it's Tuesday." You're right. Like, dude, you don't understand. Okay,
it's on your calendar.
Baseball and softball and all this shit going on and recruiting again and all this nonsense. It is welcome. Dude, I'm so fucking excited. No, I am so excited.
Here's what happened. 2 years ago, you got thrust into what we like to call real life.
Whoa.
Right? Whereas you have job and family life. For so long after you retired, you just
nothing
had
about this is real, bro.
Family life. You just had family life, right? It was just taking care of the kids, training to be a little Iron Man, all that fun stuff, right?
Oh, that's right.
Now it's like, oh, I have this thing called work too that I have to manage. And yes,
I don't call it work.
I don't call it work. I
call it fun shit. I mean, dude, like it's just it's a little bit of a lot when you get pulled in different directions. And Jay, you know how many directions I go, and it's like it never ends, revolving door. But it's crazy. And I thought we were at noon, and I was super fucking excited. So I've been sitting here for half an hour listening to EDM in one ear, going fucking like, okay, any minute they're gonna come on. And then this storm that's supposed to be coming doesn't fucking come, and so like I don't even know what ruined my whole day. I wanted to mulch. I should have mulched the whole morning.
It pounded Omaha this morning.
Did it really?
Omaha's
we didn't
flooding
get anything
right now.
We were supposed to get like 12 hours of straight rain. I got a flood watch this morning. And I was like, dude, really? Second day of mulching? You're going to fuck me over like this? I got really mad. And now I look outside and I see the sun and I'm like, I could have done my whole yard in mulching. Like I could have finished it. And now I'm pissed because I didn't get it done. But I'm excited that we're here. I'm excited.
Yeah. We're also
excited. I can't have a Modelo after, but I'll let you drink it for me.
Alex's landscaping spin-off podcast starts next week here on the O-Line Committee.
Jay knows how much I love landscaping. I am outside all day. Dude, take the shirt off and go. Bear comes out. He takes his shirt off. I got him a little wheelbarrow. We're doing mulching together. Johnny helps me throw it in the back. Dude, having 2 boys was the greatest fucking thing. Dude, Jay, wait. Wait until they can talk, function, and move a shovel. When they can start learning how to do shit. I remember Justin Smith when I was super, super young in the NFL, and I was eating lunch one day, and he was like, Booney, listen, you want to know how they make them fucking big in the country? I go, what's up? He's like, go make them lift rocks. I was like, what? He's like, dude, when we were young, baling hay, picking up rocks, he's like, that's all we had. Dude was the strongest human being I've ever met in my fucking life. And I'm not even kidding. You know, he had the old like Budweiser tattoo on his arm. It's fucking awesome. Yeah. But he was like, make him pick up rocks. You better believe I got a fucking line of rocks in my backyard. People are always like, what are the rocks for? I'm like, sometimes when I get pissed at Johnny, I'll be like, go move them. Go move him somewhere.
Did I ever tell you what John Michael's mom used to make him do? So John Michael Schmitz, starting center for the New York Giants, second round
Great
pick,
guy.
my client.
Great family.
One of the first times I went and met with his parents, we were in Chicago at his family's, like his aunt's or something's restaurant. And I was asked, like, what are you guys doing? She goes, oh, I like to landscape, but I like to find the rocks. I was like, keep going with this, please. And she's like, yeah, whenever John Michael's home when they were younger, I'll drive my minivan around to like construction sites and like where they're locked, and I will have him wheel giant rocks into the minivan. And then when we get home, she built like a giant wall of rock that like is surrounded, and it's beautiful. And John Michael's like, oh yeah, we lifted every single one of those from like random fields that she would find them, and then we'd take them home. I was like, no wonder you're so big. Like,
so big.
Like just moving boulders.
Think about this though. CV, the most massive human being you've ever met in your life. Same thing. Family's in an excavating company. He's like, dude, it's all about the rock and dirt. I'm like, dude, these kids
his family's company was literally when trains derail, they go pick it up. Like that's what they do. And like he's like, yeah, we'll be like 36 hours in a tractor, right? And tractor and trucks. He's like, yeah, I've been driving trucks since I was like 13 years old, like big old dump trucks, because that's their family business. It's incredible.
His dad is bigger than him, and I couldn't believe it until they showed me a picture. They're like, his dad's twice the size of him. I go, that is a fucking They showed me a picture. Yes. Ooh. Dude, I'm excited.
Crush your hands. You're like,
I'm excited to meet him.
I
can't wait. Oh, just
hooks, man. You guys wouldn't know this by hanging out with me. I do have an athlete's physique, of course, but dude, because I grew up on a farm, a hobby farm, and we had horses. We had 7 acres. We would get twice a year hundreds of hay bales delivered, and you'd have to carry those things in, right? And when I was like 14 or 15. we moved into the farm when I was probably 9. So I was like 14, 15, going into high school, like 8th grade high school. And my mom and stepdad loved to landscape, right? Like acres of landscaping. It was all they did all summer. And now I was getting old enough to sort of like maybe help. So a dump truck shows up one day, drives down the long gravel road up to our landscaping area between the barn and the house. And literally like a full ass dump truck of landscaping rocks just dumps a pile in the middle of our gravel driveway. And I'm watching this happen. And once the dump truck leaves, I ask my mom, So is that pile going to be there all summer, or do they come back? Like, who comes back and spreads the rocks? And she looks at me with a smile and says, "That's what you're going to be doing this summer, Philip.
Yes.
Here's the wheelbarrow. Here's the shovel.
Get to it." Dude,
alarm at 7:30 a.m.
I'll tell you what, you know how you make some tough motherfuckers? You throw them a shovel and go figure it out, dude. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, true story. Justin Smith told me the same story. I was like, we were talking about farm life, and I was, so what's it like, man? Like, growing up and shit. Because his dad had a condition where he couldn't function for a while. So Jay had to run the farm while he was in like high school. And he was like, man, it's a lot. He's like, but I remember when I was real young, he's like, my grandpa and my dad would drop me off in the cornfields with a bologna sandwich and a water. And they'd be like, go pick every weed out of this fucking field right now, boy.
Yeah.
I was like, no shit, what'd you do? He goes, I picked every fucking weed out of that goddamn field. I was like, when did they come back? He goes, when the sun went down. He goes, my dude, that's how it works in the country. I was like, God, they just don't make them like that anymore.
It's a different world, man.
I love it. I fucking love it.
Yeah, my aunt had a 100-acre ranch growing up. And so the same thing, like, she'd call me and be like, they hate the field. And he'd be like, oh, God. Like, all right, I'll be there this afternoon. And you pulled up, and I was like 14. And so I'd bring a friend, and she'd throw us the keys to the Durango and be like, one of you drive, one of you load. And you'd switch off of just like walking and throwing hay bales into the trailer. And then you take it to the barn, you stack it in the barn. Like, oh, yeah, that's just tough work, right? Just
dude,
tough.
I love it.
Well,
hard,
think about now.
It was great. It was great stuff. You were getting a workout, and like you were tired, and then you got some money from it too. If she would pay you, like either in food or a little cash. Oh yeah, it was always an if. It was like please. Yeah. Can you give us gas money to get home?
God, you think now all like the farmer, like a combine, right? This gigantic thing that 100 years ago, man, like Grandpa Phil Mackey back in the early 1900s, man. It's called a plow horse. You strap your ass in, and you're just out there all day long.
Dude, shout out to the farmers, man. Seriously, hardest fucking working people in the world.
Yeah, except for some of my friends now that farm that have the like GPS. Like,
no, I'm not talking about those guys,
dude. They're like, I've watched a bunch of Netflix, and like, I just got to really make sure something doesn't go wrong in the tractor. I'm like, so you just hang out in the tractor all day? He's like, pretty much. Yeah. Just it's got Wi-Fi, like air conditioning.
Don't be mad.
Like, you just look at the screen and be like, just little adjustments here and there.
His grandpa's probably like, fuck this kid.
It's such a GPS back in my day.
What?
Oh man. Okay, we got a loaded show here. We're gonna get to our big boy question of the week. We got some mics, we got some dumb football questions, and maybe most importantly, we have protection for you guys, the audience, security. This is where Aura comes in, the sponsor of today's podcast, an all-in-one protection platform from identity theft, scams, and online threats across all of your devices for your whole family. Prices start at just $12 a month. You can go to aura.com, that's AURA.com/O-Line Committee, and start your 2-week free trial. In fact, all of you guys, like the audience has been super supportive of this show, of this YouTube channel. And you guys ask us sometimes, what's the best way I can help you guys grow the show? Well, number one, you can listen to the episodes or watch the episodes. But number two, one of the best things you can do right now to help the show, sign up for a free 2-week trial at aura.com/O-Line Committee. You help our show when you sign up for a free 2-week trial at aura.com/O-Line Committee. And if you aren't sure about your online footprint, why don't you just put your name into a Google search and see all of the information that pops up that maybe you don't want out there? Or maybe just see how much time your kids spend on various apps. Do you know what they're doing? Aura can help with policing your kids' phone usage. Aura.com/O-Line Committee. Google Alex's name too while you're at it.
Don't.
Do it.
Don't.
Maybe we'll do a whole show just dedicated to Googling Alex's name. Just link by link. Click.
I've been good for a long time. Okay?
No, you got to start from like the good stuff, right? Like start in 2019, and we'll work our way down to 2009.
Dude, starting 2009. Then you.
No, we'll work our way down to that. We'll finish the best for last.
Oh boy.
Okay, big boy question of the week here. It's quite simply, what do you think of these quarterback rankings I am about to throw at you guys? I have ranked all 32 projected starting NFL quarterbacks in multiple different tiers. This isn't the hot take rankings from a couple months ago, where I think I had Brock Purdy like number 3 or something. This is, I put actual thought into this now.
You really thought about this for a
1
while.
through 32, yes. Yep.
Got it. All right.
Go
slow.
Spent a half hour this morning.
Are you starting from? Are you
30 hard-earned minutes?
Right. Are you going 30 to 1 or yeah? What are you doing?
I think we can start at the top and work our way down.
Let's do that.
That works. That works easier.
Build some more suspense. Yep.
Because you're going to obviously start with number 1.
Yeah. Yes. And if the I think if the graphics department for O-line committee had been thinking ahead here, then I would have put a graphic on the screen. But you're going to follow along with the audio audience here. Okay.
Totally. Here we go. Total dang.
I just throw my teammate under the bus there.
You threw yourself under the bus.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Tier number 1 is the GOAT tier. There's one quarterback in the GOAT tier. It's Patrick Mahomes.
Fair.
Clearly.
Super fair.
So
it'd be easy to go down from here because we know what he is. Sometimes when you go, it just fucks it up. But all right, go ahead.
But it wasn't his best statistical season. But at the end of the day, statistics are for losers.
Shut up, Becky. He's the best.
He's winning Super Bowls without Tyreek Hill the last 2 years. So
exactly,
he's the GOAT. Okay, yeah, and feel free to fight me on any of these.
I will.
Oh, they're going to, and we are
I'm
too.
Sure we will.
Oh, we will.
Okay, we have tier number 2 is the cheat code tier. And I have 2 quarterbacks that I would consider cheat codes. Number 2, and this is where you might fight me. Right now, I think Lamar Jackson is the second best quarterback in the NFL. Number 3, Josh Allen. Now, I've had these guys flipped in previous years, but this is the first time in 4 years Josh Allen doesn't get Stephon Diggs as a safety blanket.
Okay, that was my question.
He throws a ton of picks.
Are we projecting of what their teams are going to be this year?
There's a little projection.
Little projection piece to it?
Okay. I'm cool with that.
I can give you that. I can give you that. I think there's way more weapons on Baltimore than there is on Buffalo right now.
Yep.
Lamar's
a 4,000-yard passer married with an 800-yard rusher all wrapped into one. He's excellent against pressure. Josh Allen, a little turnover happy even with Stephon Diggs. So I'm swapping those guys from previous.
And the Ravens have a run game, so it's not all on
Derrick
Lamar
Henry
Jackson. Right? They got the horse. They got the horse standing back there. Clydesdale. Yeah. Meeting some NBA player in the A gap.
Austin Rivers, you want to take
you're
this
up,
one on,
bud.
buddy?
You want a job?
Okay, the next tier is should be a cheat code. So the previous tier was cheat codes. This is should be a cheat code, but he's not yet for whatever reason. Justin Herbert is my 4th ranked quarterback, and this might cause some controversy. So he just turned 26. He's one of the best athletes at quarterback. If you just watch tape, like you guys, we've broken down some of Justin Herbert stuff. If you want to dive into the numbers, he's the 3rd best quarterback against pressure. I think Harbaugh comes in. Now, the weird thing is Harbaugh comes in, probably reduces the load that's put on his shoulders. He's not going to throw the ball as much. But there should be more of a winning culture. You should start to see some team success. Maybe it's Justin Herbert coming down a little bit in passing attempts. But I think I stand for Justin Herbert.
I don't know that. Well, here's my thing too is I don't know that you guys get it. Like, it's not that he's going to be throwing less. It's just going to be more play action, and it's going to be more quarterback friendly stuff that's kind of hidden in other things. There'll still be a ton of throws. There'll still be a ton of yards. It just comes off these long plays or these long throws, and they'll still have their 3rd downs and stuff. But yeah, I'm kind of with Jay on this too. Who are they going to throw it to? I'm sure in this system, and this is my opinion, it's going to be a run-first system. We're here to run the ball and play action off of it, right? We have a great offensive line. It's kind of the same thing they did in Frisco. It's why I get what they're doing, and I'm like, yeah. But at the same time, Cap still had the opportunity to have a ton of yards. Dude, look at Russ in Seattle. He had Marshawn Lynch. He still had a ton of yards. Like, there's ways to get around it. You just don't have to stand back there and go, pass rush me. It's kind of like, are they going to run it? Are they going to pass it? What are we going to do? So it's just different. But who is 5 is my question.
Do you have a take, Jay, on 4 real quick before we get to 5?
I mean, my biggest thing is you got rid of Keenan Allen. Mike Williams walked out the door. Like, Quentin Johnson was not it. Like last year, maybe he puts it together this year.
I mean, he's gonna have to make Josh Palmer.
Josh Palmer's got to be his dude, which he played well last year when Keenan was hurt.
He's a good player,
but that's it. Like, who's tight end? Everett? Like Everett was there, tight end last year. I remember my wife
DJ
had both
Chark.
of them. My wife had both of them on fantasy, and they both were not great, right? Which is why she was last in the league. But
Wow,
so it's just
that's a bus thrower. Ding.
well, also like
totally throwing the wife under the bus.
I'll wear that. And then Austin Eckler's gone too. Like the weapons
but
that
they
he's
did
used to having. They got Gus
J.K.
Edwards.
Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Yeah, they got
right,
dudes
but
back in
neither
the
one of those
backfield.
dudes, in my opinion, are receiving backs. Right, like so many of the yards after catch came from Austin Eckler on a swing route, or Austin Eckler running an arrow route, or running an angle route on the linebackers. Like that's a piece that's going to be missing. That was always Herbert's kind of security blanket. So while I agree with you that I think talent-wise he's definitely in the top 5, if we're projecting on what does he have this year, if that run game doesn't get going, or if the teams sell out to stop the run like they're going to, we'll really be able to see can Justin Herbert do Patrick Mahomes stuff with lesser talent on the outside.
Yep. I would say I think he's good enough to where you're going to start. I mean, hell, CJ Stroud took Nico Collins and said, "Hey, dude, I'm going to be a kingmaker here." I think Justin Herbert is good enough to make a king out of Josh Palmer potentially.
Okay,
I agree.
We'll see.
I'll go with you.
Who's 5 though?
The next tier is the if they stay healthy tier. It includes 2 quarterbacks: number 5 Joe Burrow, and number 6 Trevor Lawrence.
All right, then we're on the right page.
So listen, Trevor Lawrence, if you take away the high ankle sprain that he tried to play through and threw a bunch of interceptions, he's only 24 years old. That team was 8-3. I still think there's another level that he could get to at age 24, 25 here. So a little projection there. Joe Burrow, at his peak when he's healthy, can carry a team to the Super Bowl. We've seen it.
For sure.
But it's
if he's healthy, I agree.
It's like we said last week, though. Like I am concerned about that. I am concerned about now. He came out. He's got the long hair back. He's got the
was that photoshopped or was that
no?
real?
That's real.
Please,
that's
God, cut
real,
it.
Dude.
Just cut it.
He's got the Sith Lord haircut going.
Yeah, he's not fucking around.
He's got the real dark Anakin, like the I Slaughter Children vibes going. Like he's ready. He's ready for the season.
Meme. When you sent that,
I did.
I fucking died. I got the same vibe. That's why I was like, cut it. Get rid of it,
dude.
Don't do that.
Mr.
Dude,
Skywalker,
Herbert's going to be his Anakin, dude.
He's just like,
Herbert's going to be the good one. It's going to be these two going at it. I agree with you, though. I think that if Joe Burrow can stay healthy, they're going to be a dangerous fucking team. But at the same time, Trevor Lawrence is so young, and he's got such talent around him. But they have to keep him healthy. They have to keep him fucking healthy.
Do you have something against the NFC?
I hadn't thought about that as I'm ranking these.
Do you have?
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's six AFC quarterbacks before we get to. Well, you're about to be a happy man with this next tier.
Okay, I'm just saying, like you have.
No, I don't.
Well, I'm curious what the tier is going to be called.
No, I mean, you got some AFC love going here.
Yeah, well, the AFC has more solidified high-end quarterbacks.
Just saying, a little bias.
The next tier is you can do a hell of a lot worse than these guys tier. Number 7, Matthew Stafford. Sneaky great season last year for him. Mm-hmm. You talk about kingmakers. Puka Nacua, talented guy. Matthew Stafford puts him on a different level, right?
Cooper Kupp.
You guys love statistics. Matthew Stafford had the highest big-time throw rate in the NFL last year among all quarterbacks.
Loves to throw it.
Number 8, Dak Prescott. Number 9, Jared Goff in the you can do a lot worse than these guys tier.
I'm going to switch that.
I'm killing the Prescott one, dude.
I'm sorry, bro. We're way off that. We are not.
I don't think
he's going down. No, he's going down, and we're putting Goff up there. Like I'm going to put Goff behind Stafford for sure, but he's definitely ahead of Goff.
Dak is a great regular season quarterback that has had some major postseason hiccups, which sounds like the last Dallas Cowboys quarterback, Tony Romo.
Yeah, Goff.
I'm not, dude. At one point, I'll be honest. At one point, I had Dak around like 13, but then I looked at it. I'm like, can I really? You'll see some of these other guys.
Yeah, you can.
He puts up crazy numbers
what do you
every
mean?
year.
Has he made it out of the wild card yet? No, he hasn't. So yeah, you could put him around 13, 14, maybe even 18.
Especially 18's a hot take.
That's 18's he's not that bad. But I mean,
we're 4 positions off.
You put any of these quarterbacks above him in the car that is the Dallas Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb, right? You've got young Jake Ferguson. Like you've got all these weapons, stud offensive linemen. I mean, any of these guys above him, so any of the 7 guys that you have above him, I think that they can make that team a Super Bowl contender right away, right? So
the question is going to be how many guys below him now as we go through.
That's fair. I mean,
and he's the one of the first 9. I feel very comfortable with everyone except Dak was the one I was on the fence the most about. So I'm not even going to fight you guys that much on this.
I mean, the disrespect to Aaron Rodgers is quite interesting.
Oh, it's going to get more disrespectful.
Is it?
Matt,
wow.
You know Mackie hates him. You know Mackie hates him.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here we go.
No,
you hate him.
He's
sensitive. So sensitive.
I think I saw palms too. I think I saw palms.
God,
they're clapping fine. There's a clap. There's a clap. There's an ultra.
Oh,
there's a hand clap.
Oh man. Well, okay. We'll get to the Rodgers thing. We'll get to.
Okay, here we go.
But not in the next tier, because the next tier is dynamic 25 and under guys.
Ooh.
Okay. I put 2 guys. You could put more than one. I put 2 guys in here for now. CJ Stroud at 10.
Yep.
22 years old, one of the greatest rookie quarterback seasons in NFL history. And now they're adding Diggs. It's going to be
Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Diggs, and they brought Dalton Schultz back.
Yeah.
Who'd they get at running back too? Because they let Singletary.
Oh, they got what's his name from Cincinnati?
Joe Mixon.
Mixon.
Joe Mixon.
Dude,
that offense
so
is gonna
fucking
be
excited. You
beastly,
know how much of a
dude.
Mixon fan.
Neil Hunter on the defense.
Okay, so listen, I'm just going to say this right now. I'm putting him above Dak. I know disrespect is out of control, but I'm sorry. What he fucking did in 1 year with absolutely nobody giving him any love and a new coach and a whole new fucking roster. Like, dude, you came out of nowhere and surprised everybody. And I'm with that.
Okay. And then number 11 in this tier also, Jalen Hurts. He's 25 years old. His stock has gone way down in the last 12 months. Really weird end of the season. It's hard to know what to do with him. Like at one point, you could have made a case maybe a couple years ago. Is he 5th? And now it's like, I don't know, is 11 too high? So he was another one that I had a hard time with, but he's 11th on my list.
This is going to be the year to be able to tell if he's the dude or not, because they paid him all that money, and so your team is going to suffer in other places. Right, like when he was on his rookie scale contract and they had a bunch of dudes and everyone was around him and everyone's getting paid and he was just kind of managing it and then had some great games. But once you paid him, what was it, 256, 257, somewhere in that ballpark
Yeah, I think
range?
it was 256.
Like once you pay someone that kind of money, you are saying you better be able to win with whatever we put out there. Like whatever other pieces we put around you, we're saying that you are good enough to win us and take us deep into the playoffs every time. So this is a huge prove it year for Jalen Hurts. Are you that guy, or did we overpay you and now we're not going to be able to build people around you to have the great team that we need?
Yep, and now he's without one of the greatest centers of all time as sort of just a safety blanket.
Backstop.
Jason Kelce. Yeah, it's good to have that.
Swift is gone too. Swift went to the Lions.
Yeah, but they got Saquon, which is going to be a huge bump for them.
That's true.
That's another thing is like if you're talking about having a year where it's like, hey, we need to see what you can do. You got a great running back next to you to be like, hey man, I'm going to lean on you a little bit.
And two, honestly,
you have a great offensive line.
You have two number one receivers.
Probably the number one O-line.
Devontae Adams, and
AJ Brown.
Right, like those two guys, and then
they should kick the shit out of people this year. The more we're thinking about this,
but they're in their window, right? They're in their window because his contract's going to take big hits over the next 2 years, right? Like you're not going to be able to keep that team together. So, like we talked about the Lions, they are in their win it right now window because you're going to have to come up on guys like Davis are going to have to get paid soon, right? Their first round pick from a couple years ago. Like those dudes are going to start entering into we need to be paid type of modes, and you're not going to be able to pay them all.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay, next tier here. The system is very helpful tier.
Oh,
There's
I
two
know who's in
quarterbacks
that.
in it.
We know who's in this
You
one.
better have Brock Purdy at 12.
For sure he's in there.
Number 12 is Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
And number 13 is Tua Tagovailoa. Now, Tua, it's funny. Like these guys clean swept all of the categories statistically. Like Tua led the league in yardage, and then Brock led the league in like passer rating and all these different. And they're both good. They're both talented. I mean, one was a top pick. The other one was the last pick. Which is kind of funny. But they're both really good. I think they're both sitting in these incredible. I mean, the speed that Miami has with their skill position players is unprecedented in recent NFL history. And then we've talked about that Shanahan system in the Niners. So I think Dolphins fans and Niners fans are going to feel disrespected by this. But those guys, those are good quarterbacks whose performances look better because of the great parts around them. That's my take on those two guys.
Also, you're going to get the best out of Tua this year because it's a contract year.
Yep.
Right? Like they picked up his 5th-year option, but he's looking for the payday. right? He's looking for the massive 250 plus type deal that's coming up.
Do it on the road. Do it in December.
You're going to get the best out of him this year. Also, I read today he's down like 15 pounds. Like he leaned up. They said he's going to play more closer to 220 this year when he was 230 plus last year. So, maybe that adds some more things to it. But the wild card with him too, and will always be his brain. Like, because I think that's part of the reason they're scared to extend him so much is like he's 1 or 2 hits away from being done.
Yeah.
Right. Like you get a couple more of those massive concussions that he had. Like those are scary stuff, man. That's not stuff you mess with. And every team thinks about that when it comes into contract, whether it's your head, your knees, whatever it may be. Like that is always in the back of their mind when they talk about guaranteed money and how long they want to extend you for.
Yeah. Okay, the next tier here. It's the funny how things work in the NFL tier, and there's 2 quarterbacks. 14 is Aaron Rodgers. 15 is Jordan Love. You've got one guy who's 40 years old, coming off a torn Achilles. He's coming down the mountain of quarterback rankings. And then you got one guy who, the reason why Jordan Love isn't higher for me is because he only did it for like a half a season. Just want to see a little bit more. But man, he made some absurd plays and had some great games in those last 8 to 10. He's 25 years old. So I've got Rodgers coming down the hill at 14, Jordan Love going up the hill at age 25. I
agree with that.
Ranked 15th.
You know how I feel about Aaron Rodgers. Like, this is one of those years where you got to come out and prove it to me now. Like, I got to see you do it for the whole year before I'll be like, yeah, man, I'm excited for the playoffs with these guys. But at the same time, I'm with you on the Jordan Love thing. Like, it didn't start well, but it ended really, really exciting to where it's like, man, if they can pick up where they left off, dude, this is going to be interesting.
It's
Jay,
hard.
you're
It's so hard for me to disrespect Aaron Rodgers, dude.
We're not disrespecting him. We're just saying we don't think he's going to have a good year.
You're telling me
40.
You're telling me that you wouldn't take Aaron Rodgers from anywhere 13 up to call it 8.
There are 2 guys on this list ahead of him that I would take Aaron over. Yes.
I would take Dak. I would take him over Dak.
Yes.
And I would take him over Purdy. I would 100%.
If he's healthy.
Right now. Today.
Yeah. Today
today.
That's what we're
I'm
just
taking
saying.
Aaron
Hey,
Rodgers
we're just saying, hey,
today.
How about this? Go play 4 quarters. And then I'll go, okay, he's good. Just play 4 quarters. I play 4 quarters. And I'll say, sure thing, bud. You got it. I'll jump him to 6 if you want me to. He can go to the if they stay healthy. How about that? Let's do this. Let's put him in the if they stay healthy tentatively, because that's actually where I would put him up with Burrow and Trevor.
Like 7th.
Yeah.
You're either going to go 14 or 7. How about that? Based on game 1. That's it. Okay. And then from there, we'll redo this. Okay.
I can get with that. He could be in the if they stay healthy.
I mean, he goes out there and lights it up the first couple of weeks, and like he's still Aaron Rodgers. He immediately jumps. Game 1. He goes out there game 1 and looks like
he
vintage
fucking
Aaron
jumps.
Rodgers.
Yeah, we're all just saying, come on, do it.
He jumps everyone up until probably Matt Stafford.
Jay, it's like this. It's the same thing we're saying about Kirk. Everyone's like, oh, he's so good. We're like, okay, great.
No, I don't even think it's that.
We're just saying he's a good quarterback, but I need to see him come out and play before I'll even say that anymore, because it's a massive injury that you just underwent. And not only that, but now dudes are going to be chasing you again. It's all fun and games and OTAs, and you and I both know. Go hit him. Go ahead. I don't give a shit. We're not even wearing pads. What the fuck's the coach going to say? I don't give a shit what he says either. It's fucking Tuesday in May. What do I give a shit? But the minute the pads turn on, you're like, all right, okay, now the stress level's back up. Everything's super crazy. All right, listen, 1 game.
The only reason I say it's different than Kirk Cousins is because this happened week 1. Like by the time he puts himself back out there, he will be a full year out. Right? Like I know he's 40, but the amount of money
understand what the aging process is like. The amount of 32.
The amount of money you can put into your body when you have unlimited funds, like it's a real thing. Right? Like Magic Johnson cured AIDS with money. Like it's a real thing, dude.
Brody.
Like, the amount of stuff he can do and the amount of stuff he can go get with injections and stem cells and pay for the best treatment and do everything hyperbaric chamber. Like he probably
could. But your body, once it tears once, will never be the same.
You're talking to a dude with 7 surgeries.
I know, Jay. That's why I'm like, dude, you and I both know that money can solve a lot of issues, but sometimes when you're being chased down by people, you put $200 million in my leg, it's going to break. It's just going to happen.
We'll see.
Because your body is like, oh, I'm human. I'm not a robot. You put a ton of stuff in me, but everything just leaked out anyways. Dude, how many times when we get injections where we like, So how does it stay here? Like, how does it stay in this? Well, it knows and the body knows. Bull fucking shit. You're lying to me and you just took my money. Don't act like we're not idiots.
So we all agree that
yeah.
Okay, now we all agree. So he's staying at 14 until he plays
game 1,
4 quarters,
right.
and then we can move
enough.
him up to 7. We'll just fast track him up to 7. Okay.
Right away.
The next tier. We're halfway point here. The numbers look great, but something is missing. That's the next tier, and there's 2 quarterbacks: Kyler Murray at 16 and Kirk Cousins at 17. Where you look at, these guys back of the football card. Wow, 4,000 yards. Look at this. And then with Kyler, it's like, wait a second. Why is his organization firing coaches? Why are his teams like 10 games below 500? Why is he not watching film and playing video games instead?
And making $200 million.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird. And then with Kirk, why in 10 years, even before the Achilles, have his teams only won 1 playoff game? There's just something with both those guys. It's like, I don't know. Something's missing.
I'm going to say
that's a good.
I'm going to say
man.
the obvious. It's a great tier, but can we just say this? And I'm probably going to get in a ton of trouble for saying this, but this is a big drop off. Is it not? Like, we just went from Jordan Love to Kyler Murray, and in my mind, that's a massive drop off. Like, we're like kind of like, wow, all right. Is this where the NFL starts to split?
We've always said it. There's really only about 18, maybe 20 true dudes that you would go to war with, and so we're getting to that point.
Yeah,
we are getting to that point where now it's like we think he may be the guy, but we're not sure he's the guy, right? Like everyone from this point up, a lot of faith. Each organization has a lot of faith in those guys to be the guy for a long time, besides maybe Jalen Hurts. But they paid him, right? They paid him to be the guy. The rest of here, though, I think we're entering that middle zone here, Boone, where we talked about where it's like, if it's not him, we'll find someone else next year. Right. Like I think we're starting to enter into that realm.
You're right. We are.
Well, yeah, you're going to like these tiers coming up here. So here's the next one. This is the career revival tier. 2 quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield revived his career last year with Tampa, and then Geno Smith comes in at 19. So Baker Mayfield 18, Geno Smith at 19. Geno wasn't as good last year as 2 years ago, but like rock solid production during a 2-year stretch where people thought like Geno Smith, is he still in the NFL? That's crazy. 50 touchdown passes last 2 years. And that brings us to the last chance to prove you're the guy tier. And now we have 4 quarterbacks in this tier.
Okay.
Number 20, Russell Wilson. Number 21, Deshaun Watson. Number 22, Derek Carr. And number 23, Daniel Jones. Last chance to prove you're the guy.
For sure.
Trying to think, Derek Carr, what's his deal look like?
I think he's got 2 more years, right?
So he got 2 more years on
the
his
guarantees
deal?
2 or is it 1?
The Saints front office is doing the same thing. Like, how much left do we got to pay?
Mickey's
Watson,
literally.
Cleveland's like, this is the guy no matter what, right? Like
we're in this.
Stuck.
We are in this one.
In this, right? Like he's working.
Stefanski,
we're calling Joey Flacco again.
It's
boys.
you. It's you next.
Carr has 2 really heavy years left on
That's
that
what I
contract.
thought.
So he's got 2 more years.
Yeah, but you know what? The Saints are crazy, dude. They've been known to do anything. They could easily be like, we got to get off.
Well, I mean, if the
shit,
Saints are shitty this year and
they got to get off them,
and they're in the top 10, they'll just draft a quarterback. Draft a quarterback, right? They'll just say, okay, we'll take a quarterback, and then Derek Carr, you can have it 1 more year, and then here's your hat. What's your hurry? Right? Like that's where they'll go with it.
That. If you were to cut somebody, would you really say that? Here's your hat. What's your hurry?
Of course not.
We laugh because we've all been cut.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
I think that's what I heard once.
Yeah. Well, I tell my clients, like, listen, if you don't do this, the next question they're going to ask you is aisle or window, right? Like that's what you like. That's the next coming question if they ask you, like aisle or window. So you got to make sure you stay with it.
So with Deshaun, by the way, it's like 3 years of really heavy contract, but it doesn't mean that after this year you couldn't organizationally be like, all right, we got to draft somebody, or we got to start.
I don't know how the fuck you do that in Cleveland. I don't even know how you walk around that, tiptoe around the media of going, we fucked this up.
Because the problem, if you do that, you're admitting fault as a GM.
big fault.
Like you're admitting, like
you fully guaranteed contract,
so
dude.
If you start saying, I think we're gonna have to move on from Deshaun. I think we're gonna have to go and draft a quarterback. They're gonna be like, well, why would we trust you to draft a quarterback when you did this for Deshaun Watson, right? It just you got to just ride it out. You just got to ride it out with him. I don't think
that's why I'm worried for Stefanski.
2 more years,
dude, for sure. Okay. If they don't do it this year,
see, I don't think Stefanski's in trouble though.
I know, but eventually people are gonna go. Something's got to change, and
it'll be upper management. It'll be upper management because look what Stefanski did this
11
year
wins with 4 quarterbacks.
Right?
Joe
no, I agree, dude. I love Kev. Everybody knows I love him.
Looking at like, okay, who was the mastermind behind this trade? Like, was it the GM? Was it the cap guy? Like, who orchestrated all this? And maybe we'll start there and leave Stefanski because we love him.
What if it was the
owner? Never know. If it's the owner, then no one cares.
Then who's biting the bullet for that guy? Because someone's going to be taking it real soon. I wouldn't be surprised if that owner had. Yeah. If he had a big say in like, we're getting this guy here, and they're probably like, dude.
And
he's like, who's the name on your check? That's right.
We got 2 tiers left here for the last 9 quarterbacks. Okay. The next tier, starting with 24, is the don't crash the car, kid tier. Number 24, Caleb Williams. Number 25, Anthony Richardson. 26, Jaden Daniels. 27, Will Levis. And 28, Bryce Young. And then I'll just give you the rest. You guys can react.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the will they still be starting in October tier. 29, Sam Darnold. 30, Jacoby Brissett. 31, Aiden O'Connell with the Raiders. And 32, Jared Stidham with the Broncos.
Jared Stidham's not starting with the Broncos.
No, and neither is Sam Darnold. Neither is Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold will start.
He's not starting. No. They already came out in Minnesota and said if he hits all the steps that we want him to, he will be the starter day one.
Well, McCarthy, if McCarthy hits the right steps.
I'm saying Bo Nix starts over Jared Stidham.
Bo Nix will definitely start. And who was who else? Aiden O'Connell, he's in there, yeah. And then who was
Gardner Minshew is his backup.
Jacoby Brissett.
Pierce straight up came and said that Aiden O'Connell is QB1.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about that.
He backed him fully. I thought that was interesting, right? If I'm Gardner Minshew, I'm like, I was a Pro Bowl alternate last year.
On a 9-win team.
On a 9-win team, and like I don't even get it's not even an open competition. Yeah. But like you straight up came to the media and were like, nope, Aiden O'Connell. That's our
that could also be the head coach quickly being like, I'm going to start to draw the foundation of how we're going to roll. This is our guy. Everyone's got to back him. Doesn't mean it's not an open competition. It's just shutting down all the things, especially as a former player. I love when coaches come out and they're like, don't ask me stupid questions. He's the starter. Boom. You can't ask him again. How's the competition? He's the starter. Right? We might have a competition behind the scenes, but we don't want to talk about this shit every day.
How was his performance? He threw an interception in 7-on-7. I saw it.
You have Caleb Williams above Anthony Richardson.
That's kind of fucked up, dude. Dude hasn't even played a snap. I'm going to move that back around. Yeah, I noticed that right away. And then there was somebody else in that tier. Caleb Williams, Will Levis. Who else?
Will Levis, Bryce Young.
Jaden Daniels, 26. I mean, I'm not going to fight. If you guys want to shuffle that.
Jaden Daniels, okay.
No, I think the one I'm sure Anthony Richardson's moving up, and we're going to do a film breakdown on him later. But, the way he took this NFL by storm early in the year last year.
Exciting.
And then have you seen a picture of him recently?
Dude
jacked. Looks like Megatron. Like, the dude is yoked. Like, even Bryce Young put on some weight this year. And it's like, yeah, welcome to the league, big boys. You need to put some weight on. Like, those
big
middle
dudes
linebackers will break your shoulder, which you saw, right? And I think he learned from that. Like, you talk about the talent. Remember the hype on him with the talent and the arm strength and all that stuff last year? He put it on display early in the year. Like, I think he's a guy that I think could make massive jumps in September on this list.
Yep.
For sure. Yep. I agree.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, so there it is. I'll just fly through it one more time here. 1, Patrick Mahomes. 2, Lamar Jackson. 3, Josh Allen. 4, Justin Herbert. 5, Joe Burrow. 6, Trevor Lawrence. 7, Matthew Stafford. 8, Dak Prescott. 9, Jared Goff. 10, CJ Stroud. 11, Jalen Hurts. 12, Brock Purdy. 13, Tua. 14, Rodgers. 15, Jordan Love. 16, Kyler Murray. 17, Kirk Cousins. 18, Baker Mayfield. 19, Geno Smith. And then 20 through 23, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Derek Carr, Daniel Jones. 24 through 28, Caleb Williams, Anthony Richardson, Jaden Daniels, Will Levis, Bryce Young. And then Sam Darnold, Jacoby Brissett, Aiden O'Connell, and Jared Stidham rounding out.
I have this sticky note. I'm putting it on my wall. 521 QB rankings. And
we'll
revisit this. Yes, we will revisit.
I cannot wait. Well, week 2, we'll talk about it on our first Tuesday. We're going to come right. Hey, hot takes to our initial reactions, dude. I'm so excited to see who gets moved on. think about it.
September, first week of September, we're going to be like, here we go.
Yep. Guaranteed 4 or 5 guys move up and down. It's going to be so fun to see this.
It's going to be wild. So yeah, hit us up too in the YouTube comment section if you guys wildly disagree. Click the like button and the subscribe button too on the YouTube channel here. O-line committee, help us grow the show. Okay, I'll shut up. You guys give us a couple of mics before we get to dumb football questions.
Jay, you want to go first or want me to go?
I'll go first. So as reported by Kleiman, NFL Duff Kleiman here, in an interview with Tommy DeVito, right? It says Giants quarterback Tommy DeVito is looking forward to proving he belongs in the NFL. First of all, you had that chance last year as a starting quarterback in the NFL to prove that you should be in the NFL. So you had that opportunity, right? Response from Tommy DeVito.
Be nice.
No.
Be nice.
Quote. Yeah, we're not having this conversation for sure if I was a third-round pick. But at the end of the day, like I said, control what you can control, keep the chip. We're not having this. You were an undrafted free agent. No shit, we're not having this conversation if you're a third-round pick. Should have been better in college. Like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like, you can't just sit there and be like, yeah, I started games in the NFL last year. I should have been a third-round pick, and this isn't even a question.
We're not having this conversation.
Forever and always have the asterisk next to your name as UDFA. Always and forever. And guess what? Guess what they're always trying to do to UDFAs? Always. Replace your ass. Always and forever. You could be a great player. It's going to come haunt you when you're in contracts. It's going to haunt you when you're on the last part of the roster. Be like, well, this guy was a draft pick. Because that means at one point in time, someone in the NFL wanted you.
Yep.
Right? And it may have only been for a few weeks, but they wanted you. And they picked you to be on their team. When you're a UDFA, they want to be like, I want as little of those as possible on my active roster. Regardless of a year and year. 8, 10, 15, 2, it doesn't matter. And so for you to just say that, be like, well, I mean, if I was a third-round pick, well, like, no shit, dude. If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle, right? Like, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You can't just say that. That bothered me. It really bothered me when I read
it really?
Clearly.
Clarified that.
Yeah, no, and I agree with Jay. And the one thing that does suck is the UDFA does stick with you forever. Like, people will always, dude, I remember when my contracts came up, it was, well, he was undrafted, and it was like, we're really gonna fucking talk about this right now? Like, this is completely, but it follows you forever. And I agree with Jay a little bit. Like, to come out and be like, oh, if I'd have been a third-round pick, but you fucking weren't, bro. Like, that's the reality of this. And at the same time, Jay has another great point. They gave you an opportunity. At one point, you were in the don't crash the car fucking scenario, right? They were like, here, go have fun. People love you. They love your agent. You're silly. You're goofy. You're kind of an idiot. Like, go run with this. And you fucked it up. You don't get a lot of opportunities. You don't. And that's the one thing that they tell you in the NFL is, listen, when you get your opportunity, you have to go out and fucking take as much as you can. You can't turn around and be like, I wish I would have. Like, it's the biggest time to drop your fucking nuts. And there was games that I watched and I was like, this is fucking putrid. I can't fucking watch this shit. I felt bad for J-Mike. I was like, dude, how the fuck you even deal with that shit? He's like, bro, you just do what you're told.
Dude, I was at the Giants-Patriots game last year. Do you remember that game? I think it ended like 9-6.
That was the one I was joking about last.
Oh my gosh, dude! It was one of the most painful games to watch. It was Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi versus Tommy DeVito, and it was raining and it was horrible. And I was a worse person for having to have watched that football game. I loved. I was there to support my guy Jay Mike.
I want a refund.
The quality of football with him at the quarterback position was just really tough.
But that's why it's so funny that he's coming out and talking all this shit now, because it's like, dude, shut up. Don't do that.
But here's the thing, real quick, on the third-round pick thing, and I'm not disagreeing with you guys. I think there is like ego involved in front offices where if a guy is a UDFA, it means that everyone was wrong about him. So, but we just went through our quarterback rankings, and we all kind of agreed. Yeah, once you get to like 17 or 18, you're really scraping for guys that you can trust to start. And so the demand for anyone that can play competently at that position is so vast that if you're good enough, you're going to get a shot. So you're not getting screwed. You're not getting screwed because you weren't the third-round pick. Teams are begging guys to step up and show that they can play quarterback in this league. And so if you're good enough, whether you were a third-round pick or a UDFA, you will get a chance. 100%. And by the way, on that team, Daniel Jones takes hits. He might get hurt again or like you might get another shot with the Giants.
Right.
Regardless of where you were drafted.
Was Tyrod still there? Is Tyrod still there?
I'll look.
Where
I'll
did he
look right
sign?
now.
Let's see here.
Hold
Where
on.
did he sign?
Because in reality, Tommy DeVito played because Tyrod got hurt, which is the story of Tyrod's career. Which
He's with the Jets now. He's with the Jets.
Jets. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So I feel bad for Tyrod because it's like, dude, every time it's his gig and it's his time to shine, like in LA, right? He was going to start that year, and then it's like, oh yeah, the doctor punctured my lung. With
I remember
needle.
that.
And then off goes Justin Herbert, right? In Cleveland, right? Like, it's my time. They're going to sit this young quarterback.
Got hurt,
Boom,
didn't he?
my brain explodes. Baker Mayfield off and running. Like he gets there, Daniel Jones tears his ACL. He's like, all right, I'm going to be the next Geno Smith. I'm going to revitalize everything. Gets a high ankle or something like that, and then Tommy DeVito goes, and it's just, I feel bad for the guy, dude. I just do. I feel bad for the guy.
He's one of the
He's had some bad luck.
The more reliable backup quarterbacks in the last 20 years.
Yeah,
dude. Drew Lock is in the Giants. That's why.
Yeah,
Tommy's
Drew,
mad.
That's right. Drew Lock.
Tommy's mad because Drew came in and he's like, "I'm too stupid. Go make your cutlets. We're hungry." God, I would love a guy like that on my team. Like, hey, there's no fucking chicken cutlets
living
in
at
here.
mom's
What's up?
house.
Oh, are you kidding me? You better be bringing some of mom's fucking dinner up here for me.
Some chicken
Sounds
parm.
amazing. Oh, that
Homemade
shit better be
lasagna.
hot too. Oh, fuck out of here.
All right, next Mike.
All right, next Mike. I got to bring this up because you know what? It was bound to happen. You gave these kids so much of a voice and you started promising them all this shit. And now one of them's finally like, wait a minute, you promised me $14 million. I committed here. Now you're not giving it to me. And now I'm going to sue you. And I am so excited to see where this goes just because they've opened this. They opened this. And now it's starting to backfire. The whole NIL, the college, what was it? The Florida recruit.
So for some context here, Jaden
Rashada. Yep.
is suing Florida head coach Billy Napier
and booster,
along with the big
head
time
booster.
Gators booster Hugh Hatchcock and others, claiming they defrauded him of millions of dollars by backing out of a promised $13.85 million agreement after their QB had turned down offers to other programs.
His first problem is trusting a guy named Hugh Hatchcock to come through.
I read that name. I go, there's no way that's fucking real.
Hello,
But
it's Hugh Hatchcock.
by the way, here's another interesting thing. Did you see who the lawyer was?
Oh, I haven't seen that. Who's the lawyer?
It's the same guy that represented Deshaun Watson.
Interesting.
Dude, this whole thing is gonna fuck everything up, and it's.
I don't think so though. Because
No, it is because it's gonna make this really interesting. The fact that everyone's promising this money, and now the money's not showing up, and now it's gonna be like, well, shit. These contracts have never really been real. No one's ever really challenged an NFL
But that's my thing. He never
contract.
signed anything.
But he committed, didn't he?
So now you're saying if I promise you, Alex, you're gonna come in.
I'm not doing the lawyer
starter.
talk. No.
You're gonna be the starter, Alex. I promise you, you're gonna be the starter. And then you show up and you're not. What are you gonna do? Sue him for defrauding you?
No, it's different when it comes to money. When they put down on like a term sheet, it's the same thing going on with Marvin Harrison Jr.
But he never signed anything.
But at the same point, it's like you're telling me that now you're going to allow these big colleges to go around and lie to these 19-year-old kids and go,
100%.
we'll give you. Oh, dude, you're opening doors that.
You don't think they do already?
I don't think they lie about $13.5 million.
But once the contract is signed, then you have actual. I don't think he ever, since he only committed, I don't think he ever signed a contract.
But it was
I've been
because-
looking all day.
Did you read
for
it,
more
though?
Details on this.
There was
I've been
supposed to be
looking
money
more
given to
deals.
him.
There was supposed to be,
And it
but I
didn't
don't think
come.
he ever signed anything. I don't think he ever signed it. I've been digging all day, and if you find stuff, send it to me, please. I'm super.
this is the
super
first.
interested.
It's interesting.
In this.
It's the first
It's
time
the tip
anyone's
of the
ever come
spear,
back.
man.
Yes. It's always
It needs
takes
to be
one.
more organized. By the way, real quick, and we're going to pause this conversation for a second because Alex texted us. I have to piss.
Oh, I got to piss so
Can
bad.
I go?
So bad.
I don't know what the fine is, but yeah,
Conduct
go.
detrimental for sure.
How is that a
Jay and I are going to
fine?
be talking.
Don't get
I just didn't want to
sensitive.
stand up and leave because that'd have been another fine. AWOL fine.
bathroom, guys.
You
Guys,
just
gotta
got
go.
up real quick.
Go to the
All right,
bathroom.
perfect.
We'll be
Okay.
right back.
Because I have another thought on this. And we'll talk until he gets
We'll
back.
loop him back in.
So this has to be more organized at some point. This has to be like it's becoming professional sports.
Yes.
And when in the NFL, everything is a contract. Your agreement with your agent is a contract. Your marketing deals, your shoe cleat deals, whatever, those are contracts. Your actual contract with the team that pays you millions is a contract. It feels so shady and backroom and willy-nilly. And we're talking about $5-10 million deals for these college kids.
But if you can sue one way, you can sue the other way. Right? Like think of it from the team's perspective. right? From the team's perspective, like we offered this kid $13 million. He committed to us. He said he was going to come here. He only played for 1 year. What's to say I can't sue him for, hey, you said you were going to play here for 4, right? Like it goes both ways. Like that's the other piece of this. Like if you're saying that a kid can now sue a university for not living up to what they promised them, you can't rule in favor of that and then say, but a university can't sue a kid, right? Like it's not, you don't get both sides of the coin here. And that's the other problem is going to be is when a kid promises, hey, I'm going to come play for you, or I'm going to do this. And then I think about Caden Proctor with Iowa, right? Like Iowa raised a bunch of money when he hit the transfer portal, and then he came to Iowa for like 3 months, and then was like, just kidding. I'm going back. I'm going back to Alabama. Like I'm going to go back to Alabama. What's stopping from Iowa saying, well, you promised us to come here. I'm suing you for $100,000. Yeah. Like that's the issue that it'll become is it'll just start. Everyone will start suing everyone without the promises.
But
so
a promise.
Your point, Matt,
well, what if this is what stops it all? What if this is when the court system finally comes down and goes, okay, fine, here's the deal. This kid could technically sue you guys for not coming through with it, but from here on out, if you sign this NIL deal and you leave, you pay that money back. Boom.
That's it's
you want to make this fair, but that's why I'm excited about this because for once a kid has
the ball of wax that this is just like
it's a mess.
The inner workings that look like that. Now you're talking employee-employer relationship.
Well, there's no general managers for these organizations.
They're starting to create front offices.
They are
because
GMs
you have to have scouting departments that are scouting the transfer portal. You have to have scouting departments that are scouting kids you think might go into the transfer portal. Yeah. Like. And now you have your college, like your high school scouting departments. Then you have your own roster management now because you've got kids that are making money, and you have a basic, like every team has their own different salary cap based off of how much money the collective has like raised. So you have to divvy how that gets added up. So I'm seeing more and more teams, right? Because I'm on the agent side of it. When I talk to a player, he's like, "Oh, talk to our GM." I'm like, What? They're like, we have GMs now. Like in college football, we have GMs that are handling this side of it.
What would it take for the NFL to come in and help organize what is their feeder system, Power 5 college football? Is there any way that because the things that college football needs are things the NFL has, which are structure. They've got, it's scouting departments, everything.
But the issue with that is it's such a constant turnover. Right, like with the NFL, you can sign a guy and like if you're gonna go try and build that kind of structure, it's like, well, every year you're losing 30 kids no matter what, right? And every year you got to bring in these new kids. Like it's just college football in itself is not a structured organization, right? Because you have a term limit on how long you can be in school, right? I think the bigger thing that's going to happen here, boys, and I don't know if I've brought this up or not yet, but I've been thinking about this. How soon is it going to be that a player sues the NCAA that says, who are you to say how long I can play in college and make money playing college football?
Why can't I leave after?
Who are you to say that I can't play 8 years of college football or 9 years of college football? If I'm a really good college player and the NFL doesn't want me, why can't I stay in college?
Tim Tebow would still be playing for Florida right now, right?
That is something that I've been thinking about that's going to happen and be like, if the NCAA does go away like they're saying, right? Like if they say, hey, we're breaking off, we're starting our own league. Well, then the NCAA can be like, you only get 5 years eligibility. Says who? I don't see anything that says I can't keep getting my master's degree, right? If I'm Nebraska or I'm
17 different master's degrees.
Dude, if I got a quarterback that I'm really confident in and he's a good college quarterback, but he's not like a top 15 or 20 starting quarterback in the NFL, why wouldn't I just keep him at school and pay him $1 million a year to win us 10 games a year? Why wouldn't I do that? It's going to be fascinating to watch. Fascinating to watch.
I don't know that they're going to win that argument, dude.
Why not? If the NCAA is no longer regulating over that,
that's the thing. Yeah.
If they break off and say, NCAA, we're not doing this, we're doing a professional, like mini professional league where we have organization and everything, why is there a term limit on how long you can play?
That's the thing. If it is essentially becoming what the UFL is right now, then the entity, the UFL, for instance, why would they want to punt those players to the curb?
So,
right? Those are
timeout. Do these kids have to go to school still?
Maybe.
Well, you're playing for a school and you're fucking 35.
Well, but you're going to
school. You have your
doctorate,
and we're all just rolling. Like, at what point is the school like, hey, we're done paying for you, dumbass?
Whenever they want to be. That's the point.
I think they do. They told us 5 years. We want you out in 5. They did tell you.
But dude,
in the
if you're,
thing now.
But do they?
Think
Do
of
they want?
They do. They do. They say this is for
Alex,
5 years.
If you could go back, if you said, "Hey, University of Florida, would you like Tim Tebow for 5 more years on top of the 4 that he was here?" They'd say, "Yes, please." He puts butts in seats, puts us in the national championship game.
Talking about an amateur league that you're talking about riding out the coattails for 15 years. This is a little bit weird. You don't find this weird? If you were that good, you should go play in the NFL. That's where the big boys
They're not
play.
that good. That's what I'm saying.
Right, then you shouldn't be playing anymore. I don't know what to tell you. Life moves on.
How many good college players did you play with?
But how many kids are you not going to recruit now, though?
Listen to me. How many good college players did you play with that were great college football players, Boone? Great. But just weren't good enough to go to the NFL.
Every quarterback at Ohio State until CJ Stroud.
55 of them a year. My whole point is, if you're going to keep this quarterback here for 10 years and everyone does that, who the fuck's getting recruited to go pro? That's the whole point. That's why this whole thing has gotten fucking stupid. The whole job of college was to get you ready to go become a big boy. And now you guys are like, well, this little kid league is going to take its own league and go somewhere else. Well, where the fuck is the development going to go for the NFL?
They'll select their draft picks. They'll select their draft picks. They'll bring their guys.
You have kids playing for 10 years. When are you going to recruit a kid to get on the field so I can see some film?
Okay, I get it. You're saying it has
to be a turnover eventually,
if
guys.
Tim Tebow is still playing for Florida, then Anthony Richardson has one less spot to go play college football. But there's still other places
unlimited amounts of
I get that. You're making millions playing in an amateur league. That's great. But eventually, after 5 years, we call that adulthood. You need to move the fuck on, because anybody could. At some point, someone's going to go, well, that kid's 30 and he's playing against an 18-year-old. That's not cool. Like, someone's dad's going to step up and go, oh, I'll fucking play then. How about that? Like, it's weird, dude. You've got into a weird stage where you're like, yeah, play for 15 years.
But tell me that's not a realistic thing that's going to happen.
It's not. There's kids that are 18. They're going to go, I'm not playing with a 25-year-old.
There does come a point where you need some separation between an 18-year-old and a 28-year-old.
It's called the NFL. No. Oh, fuck me. I know, right? Sorry, you're not good enough to play in it.
Go take another bathroom break, Boone.
Yeah, who's going to sue who's going to sue for that? Oh, congratulations. You're the most mediocre player. You just want to make millions off your mediocrity. If you were good, you would step up and go play big boys.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I would love to be the judge
simply
in this.
saying
I'll sit on it.
I'm sure that you'll be their first
call. Who wants to sue? I'll sit up here and listen to your
most logical person we could bring on this panel to hear these
zero emotion whatsoever.
Zero emotion.
Yeah.
Dude, you're 27, you have 4 kids, and you want to go play with an 18-year-old. You're a fucking weirdo. Go move on in life. Jesus Christ. What do you want me to say? You guys are all about this, and I'm like, okay.
In the words of Matthew McConaughey, I get older and they stay the same age.
Exactly, perverts. Move on.
Perverts.
Imagine that, dude. The whole locker room scene has become very weird now. Yeah, you guys have become, I'm sure they'd be like, oh, yeah, sure, play 10 years. They're going to be like, dude, no.
Tom Brady goes back to Michigan.
Out. 5 and out.
All right, it's time. We got to get to some dumb football questions here. You guys ready for some dumb football questions?
You're not ready.
I mean, we have one more mic we could discuss, or do we want to wait?
Go ahead, do it.
Marvin Harrison.
Oh, I love this. It's the same thing.
Marvin Harrison is getting sued by Fanatics.
Fanatics is not going to win.
Dude, Fanatics, from what I've read, right, and I've actually done some digging on this. Fanatics is going. They're either full of shit, or they're so confident that they're going to win this case because they're like, we have signed documents, like we have agreements like that are agreed to in writing, like all this stuff. Fanatics is throwing everything out there, and it may just be they're trying to publicly pressure Marvin Harrison to sign into what he needs to do. But dude, Fanatics, the way they make it seem, like they have a slam dunk court case to just make Marvin Harrison have to do everything.
So he was supposed to partner with Fanatics on like some sort of a marketing deal. Is that what happened?
While he was in school.
While he was in school.
Yeah, they signed to it while he was in school. And they said that they agreed to terms, and then he didn't sign the group licensing agreement, which every NFL player stands, which I can kind of understand that a little bit more, of being like, well, you're only saying I'm only going to make $30,000. Like, what if I demand a higher price? That is going to be interesting to follow, because might be something that you see a lot of higher end picks start to do, right? If you're a 5th rounder, you're a 6th round offensive lineman from Northern Iowa. You're like, I'm going to sign this, and you're give me a check for $30,000. Like, where do you want me to sign twice, right? Like, but if you're a top 10 pick and you're that end, you feel like you have a little bit of leverage. Yeah, I can see this becoming more of a thing, and it's not quite as a GLA thing, but then the whole system of the group licensing agreement for the NPFLPA blows up. So there's a lot of moving pieces here, but it's going to be really interesting to watch this Marvin Harrison deal with Fanatics go through of who wins and how they decide this court case.
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting. But not only that, but how about Fanatics actually suing a player? Like, I find that very interesting. You're suing the guy whose jersey you want to sell.
Both ways.
Dude, I know. Well, someone's got to put their foot down eventually.
Yeah, I mean, but Fanatics needs the leverage of like, when we sign agreements with players, like our livelihood is making money off of the players, and right. So a very litigious episode of O-line committee here.
Yeah, kind of interesting.
People getting sued left and right. Crazy. Okay, it's time for some dumb football questions here, where we take all of your dumb football questions that you put into the YouTube comment section. We get to as many as we can. No question is too dumb for dumb football questions, so keep sending us every single week. Let's start with this one. We got our agent here, Jeremiah Sirles. And so Kevin wants to know, do players need an agent? And if so, what do they get for their services? Can a player represent themselves and achieve the same results without an agent?
No. And the reason I say that is when you try and rep yourself, you might be able to do it as a rookie if you're a top 3 pick, right? If you're a top 3 pick, you might be able to say, I'll rep myself so I don't have to pay the whatever percentage I have to say because I know I'm getting drafted no matter what, But even in the pre-draft process, there's certain things that happen, right? There's, hey, I got injured, or hey, this team asked me this question, or hey, look at this contract that I'm going to sign, or this, that, and the other thing. Like, just focus on being a football player, right? Like, that's a hard enough job, right? Like, my role as an agent is to mentor and to advise and to try and help you just be able to stay focused on how I phrase it is keeping the main thing. Because if you start losing focus on that even for a second, then like you could be passed up. And again, if you're a top 3 pick, if you're Marvin Harrison, you're like, I'm going to get picked after the quarterbacks, then sweet, I'm going to go do it, right? But when it comes to second contract time, that's when, if you want to try and do that yourself, good luck. You're going against some of the best negotiators in the world. They're going to make it as hard as humanly possible on you. And again, if you're not the top 2 at your position, there's so much back and forth that goes into that. There's so much of, hey, how do we add things in? How do we make this work through the cap? How do we do all this stuff? There's not just like, hey, it's not what you think. We're like, I'm going to slide this piece of paper across. Yeah. And it says, you pay me this or I walk. It's like, yeah, you could try that, but that's not really how it works in the NFL, right? There's moving pieces that go into this, and there's other factors that play a part into this. And that's our job as agents, is to make sure that at the end of the day, like, we aren't hurting you as a player, right? We're not coming in and saying, like, this is the number we walk. And it's like, well, you might have priced yourself out, and then they're not going to sign you, and then no one else is going to sign you. And now you got to bring that number way down just to get back on a football team, a la Dalton Reisner, right? Like, there's a lot of factors that play into that, but as an agent, you can charge whatever you want on first contract, which is anywhere between 0% and 3%. 3% is the maximum you can charge through CBA, and sometimes a lot of those top round picks are only going to charge 1% or maybe even like 0.5%. Like, it's very dependent, but as an agent, you earn your money when you go and you show them that you can negotiate on that big deal. And you show them that you can do that and you're competent and you can do all those things. And the other piece that I think that I bring as an agent that's different is you can have the most competent agent and the best negotiator in the world, but if you're not playing well, we're pretty much hamstrung as it is, right? Like, we can't go in there and demand the moon and the stars if you're a Bach 3rd starting position player, right? And so the thing that I try and do is like, let's help make you the best player you can be on the field, and then that helps my job as I go into negotiation with the second contract type of stuff.
Yeah, you played NFL football in the trenches, and so I'm like, for you're probably doing film study and like reviewing stuff with these. It's like having another assistant coach basically in your back pocket.
And that's what we hope to be, and some agents are just about negotiation. Like, I'm the best negotiator. It's like, that's great. But if your player's not playing well, I don't care if you're the best negotiator in the world. It doesn't matter, because they're going to point to the film and you're going to be like, and it's like, no, the film, that's where we start. Everything is if the film is good, right? Boone, I mean, you can speak to this. You had multiple different agents. Like, you know, so much of it is about how you perform, and then it's up to your agent to maximize that performance.
Agreed. And not only that, but having a middleman in between you and the GM and the coach is always great. Like, you don't want to have those conversations directly. And if you don't have an agent, you're going to have to. I mean, there was times in my lockout where I had to go sit behind closed doors, and they say some really fucked up things. Like, they're not Jay's not kidding. They're not nice to you when they pull you in these rooms. They're not like, "Oh, hey, buddy, you want to make some money? Here you go. I thought it'd be great to you." It's the exact opposite. It's exactly what Jay says. They start with the film, and they're like, "Hey, this is where we see Booney. This is where he's ranked. Yeah, he's up there, but this is where they think the money's." And you're like, "Wait, what?" And they're like, "Listen, if you don't like it, you can fucking leave." They're like, "Man, this money ain't going up, so you fucking deal with it." And you're like, "Well, this is not at all what's fair." And they're like, "Doesn't fucking matter what's fair." It turns into a real negotiation. It's not like, "Hey, we're friends anymore." And that's where I found the NFL kind of got weird for me, is when you take it, because I was the biggest fan of the NFL just playing football, but the minute you start throwing business into it and you have to sit in these meetings and these guys are grilling you and pulling up actual plays of where you got your ass kicked, and they're like, telling me this is worth this much fucking money? You serious? You're fucking serious? Hey, let's pull up another one. And you're like, shit. All right, motherfucker, I got you now. I see how this is going to go, but they're for real, and having people that know what they're doing is fucking.
Well, their job is to make. They have a salary cap, so like
right.
The ethos of their job is to make sure that they're paying players as little as possible relative to their performance,
to make everybody under there.
But the player's job, maybe only playing for one contract or two, is to make sure you maximize this incredible time in your life to make millions of dollars for your family, right?
And you know, a lot of it too is kind of, you're kind of hamstrung by your team. Because I remember when they pulled me in, the first thing I showed, and that's why I knew what Jay was talking about, was the room that has everybody's salary cap into which year. And like, every board had a year, and it was all the guys that went through that year. And so they walk you in and they're like, "Listen, this is the next 5 years of the team. This is the money that we have available. Like, we're not asking any of these guys to take a fucking pay cut. We wouldn't ask you to do that for somebody else." They're like, "This is how it's going to go." And you're like, "Okay, I get it. And then they're like, "This fucking business, dude. This isn't fucking X's and O's anymore. It's like, numbers add up eventually. It's not a hypothetical or a is could. It's like, this number has to be exact or we're fucked." And so that's why when you go in there, you forget that sometimes. And you're like, "Well, dude, I'm fucking working my ass off and doing this." They're like, "Yeah, Boone, but we ain't got the fucking money. Fuck, you want us to find this money? Like, look who's on our team. We got 1 million fucking Hall of Famers right now. Like, everybody." And that's another thing, is they don't want anyone to ever fall out of their lane, right? You overpay a guy, and all of a sudden everyone on the team's gonna be like, whoa, fuck is that about, right? Like, all of a sudden everyone's like, wait a minute. Everyone's quick to know when someone's getting overpaid. And that's when everyone starts talking. And that's when you don't want the team to go, shit, because now we're gonna have to fucking pay some other dudes.
And it's a good thing to have your agent be the middleman too, because it's really easy to take those negotiations personal as a player.
Fuck yeah.
Right? Like, as a player, if you're sitting there and the agent's going, "Hey, they want to pay you $3.5 a year," and you're like, "Well, I'm an $8 million a year guy. Does that mean they don't like me? Right? Do they not love me?" Like, and if you're the one having those negotiations, I think it'd be impossible to keep emotion out of it.
For sure.
Right?
It is.
Yeah.
It's hard. Dude, they told me the minute we walked out of that room, they were like, "Booney, you got to put your personal life aside.
Yeah.
This is not an attack on you." They're like, that's when I learned, dude. That's why I said the whole thing came up. The whole curtain went down, and I was like, holy shit. They were like, "Dude, you have to be very straight." They're like, "As a matter of fact, don't respond." They're like, "When you kind of make your faces, you let them know you're not happy." They're like, and then they get even more excited because they know that you're not happy. They're like, "See why we don't bring you fucking idiots into these?" And I was like, "Yeah, I shouldn't be here." Because the minute they start talking about you, you're like, "Dog, you see who I'm playing? It's fucking 9-9. Fuck you, you go do it." They're like, "I'm not paid to do it, dumbass. You are." And instantly you're like, "Shit, I walked myself right into this, didn't I? I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here." Dude, you need an agent. And not only that, but that's another great point that Jay said. And this is, now that I don't am playing anymore, I can say this. I was the guy that would go to my agent and be like, "Listen, you're going to be the guy that tells them no. I'm going to be the guy that says yes. I'm going to say yes every single day, all day, even if it's broken. And you're going to call in later and say no." He was like, "Oh yeah, that's easy." So like every day they'd be like, "You ready to go this week?" You'd be like, "Fuck yeah." And then the agent would call in and be like, "Dude, he's got a broken back. Are you stupid?" I'm like, "Oh, we asked him." They're like, "Booney says yes to everything." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll say yes to anything. You're going to have to stop me eventually." And that's when they were like, "You need someone that knows you, that knows like, hey," like my agent said, every once in a while we'll call my wife and be like, "Tell me the truth." She'd be like, "Oh yeah, he can't walk." They'd be like, "Oh yeah, he's not playing this week." Boy, I know you hear me on this.
I just heard the ping pong.
I know you hear me on this fucking thing.
The ping pong ball started going.
Go now. I know you heard that. It's almost summertime, boys. I got to get this office fixed. Hold on.
But yeah, I mean, so yeah, long story short, I think an agent is necessary in your career for a lot of things. Booney on the side of saying no too, like that's part of our job is your personal life too.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like if you're like, dude, my great uncle won't leave me alone. Right. Like he's asking for money and stuff like, hey, you can say, hey, my agent handles all that. Right. Or this, that, like just push them to us. We can be your face. We can be the moat around your castle. Right, like all that stuff. Like we are your protector, we're your mentor, we're your guide. Like we wear many hats.
Yeah,
dude. I will say this though. Can I just say this one time? One time I was really fucked up, right? And they called me and they were like, "Hey, how you feel?" I go, "Dude, I can barely walk." And they were like, "All right, let's do it." So we go in the next day and they're like, "You ready, Booney?" I'm like, "Oh fuck yeah, I'm ready to go." You know me, hobbling around, limping around. It's like Friday. The agent still hasn't called, and I'm like, "Hey." I can barely walk over here. And I called him. I was like, hey, what's up? He's like, oh yeah, yo, I forgot to get to it. I'll get to it tomorrow. I'm like, dude, it's too fucking late. I'm in this motherfucker. Like we were highly dosed up that week. I mean, it was one of those like highly, you already know. And I was
by Friday. If you're practicing on Friday, you're playing.
I called him Friday. I go, what the fuck are you doing? He was like, oh, yeah, I forgot to call. Fucking forget. No, I got to go through with this shit. Graded out well. Never felt worse than the day after. My God.
Oh, my gosh.
I know, man. It's hard. It's hard sometimes.
Let's go. So we did this one for a minute last week, but we'll give you guys a few more acres of real estate time-wise here. YHW says, who is the most revolutionary O-line coach and why?
Oh, yes. I'm gonna say currently the most revolutionary O-line coach is Bill Callahan. Right? I'm gonna say Bill Callahan.
Homer.
No.
I
mean, they hate him here. Like they run him out of town as quickly as they can here. Him and Sean Eichhorst and like Steve Peterson are like he who shall not be named in the state of Nebraska. Right? They don't like him. But what he's done from Dallas to Washington, then to Cleveland. Now he's going like everywhere he's went, the offensive line has taken drastic steps and been top 5 offensive lines in the NFL. Right. And with that type of consistency, with that type of ability to show and like different type of players each time, like all that stuff, he is in today's era. And if I had to rank like top O-line coaches, he's up there with revolutionary of what he does and how he gets guys to play.
I think, yeah, he'd probably be 1 or 2 for me. I think him, Stoutland's up there. He is also one of those coaches that is just, when you hear stories about him, you get really excited. And they're like, yeah, he doesn't put up with any bullshit either. Like when you talk about revolutionary coaches, it's coaches that go out there and they continue to push the bar every week, knowing that you're beat up, knowing that you're hurt, but they still keep putting challenges in front of you that they know you can hit. Stoutland's one of them. I know that Dante Scarnecchia was another great coach that people are like, dude, you want to talk about a guy that was fucking a mighty, mighty man. Like he was tiny dude, but fucking crushes people. And they say he's incredibly smart. I played with a guy named Mike Solari, who I thought was phenomenal. Yeah. He was one of the guys that opened my eyes to like really doing board work and film and studying and he was like the coach that was like the most prepared ever. And so when you're around guys like that, they just teach you so much about football and they teach you how to be very disciplined at the same time. Like that was one of Mike's biggest things was the more disciplined we are, the better we'll be. And you don't realize until you're out in the game and you're like, yeah, he's not a fucking kid. Like everything about this is all about aiming points and we have to be precise and you can't ever miss. And all of a sudden they flip their defense at the last second. You can't be panicked. So you have to be prepared for all this. And it's after being with him forever, I was like, my God, I don't think that there could be a better offensive line coach. But another great one is Chris Furster, who's currently in San Francisco, who taught me a lot about being a fucking big dog. Like he was one of these guys that like him and Mike were opposites, right? Mike wanted to tell you everything, teach you everything, show you everything, highlight everything, walk through everything. Furster was more like, hey, it's time to be a big boy. It's time to grade yourself. And he'd like give you the grading sheet. You'd be like, oh God, if I go too low,
oh, man.
I'm going to fucking out myself. If I go too high, he's going to out me. Like, where's the middle range? And like, he was one of the first ones that also taught me how to short set. So I'll forever be grateful to him. Cause I remember he was like, fucking like this long and you don't ever use your arms. You don't jump anybody. I was like, jump anybody? Why would I jump him? And he was like, oh, Jesus Christ, son, we got so much stuff. Like he was the first one to like open my eyes to aiming points and angles and how to attack people. And I was like, oh, this is great. So I think any coach that is really open to coaching you to what's best for you. Because I feel like there's a lot of coaches that put people in these cookie cutters, and you're like, dude, I'm not like Jay. Jay's not like me. We might be built similarly, but we do not have the same pros and cons, right? So it's
Those
like
coaches are tough.
It's tough, man. Like some of these coaches that come out and they give you everything they have and they watch your film and they talk to you. And I think one other great thing is they're not afraid to talk to you about outside of football. Like they know that you're a person outside of there. So they see you at lunch and they'll come sit down and they'll just start talking to you. And they'll be like, dude, this guy's tell me it's not true. Like you can't stand the coach. It's like, this guy doesn't even fucking know who I am. I'm just a number to him.
But I had a coach, San Diego, Joe De Lysandris.
Great guy.
We're gonna have our guest. He played with him too.
Is he gonna come on?
Yeah. He's coming.
Joe?
No.
Oh,
I bet you. We could get Joe on here at one point. Jeremiah.
He's awesome, dude.
He when I showed up there as a rookie, all the vets are like, listen, it's gonna hurt. Like he's gonna come down on you. He's gonna say things to you that is not gonna make you feel very good. Like just know that he comes at it from a place of love. And I was like, okay. And like sure enough, dude. I mean, he had sayings after sayings. He dog cuss. He'd just go off on you. And like he's probably like at this point he had to be close to 70, right? Like maybe high 60s. And like you just be like, oh my gosh, dude! Like this dude hates me. Like he loathes me entirely. And then you'd be sitting in the lunchroom, and he'd come up next to you and be like, Jeremiah, how's your wife Emma doing? She good? And you'd be like, yeah. Like how's your mom, your dad, you guys good? Tell me about yourself. And you'd be like, what is happening? Like it was just this like such a like mind. You're just like, what? Are you like buttering me up to cut me or something? Or like, you're like no, I love to get to know my guys and like talk to me about like what'd you go to school? Tell me about your line coach. And then you get in the meeting and be like, you stupid Nebraska dude. You just be like, what is happening? Like it was the most like mind like you couldn't handle. And then like to this day, Joe D will still text me on like my birthday. He'll text me. We meet up with him every year at the combine. Like he sent me a video. He sent me a picture of like the new offensive lineman they drafted this year in Baltimore. He's like, found my new Jeremiah. Hope he's coachable. Love you. Hope Emma's well. Doing it. It's like so weird, man. And then you talk to guys,
worthless piece of.
Yeah, you talk to guys that play for him, and they're like, dude, I can't play for this guy. Like I can't play for this man. I'm like, dude, I don't know what to say. You just have to like. He is as Jekyll as Hyde and they come, but he was another really good O-line coach that's done great things, and I owe him a lot of my career.
Listen, there's something to be said about boundaries, right? Like I always found boundaries in the door. The minute the door's closed, they're a coach, right? I'm a player. We take all personal matter off. The minute that door opens, we're back being fucking googles and gaggles. Like we're just laughing our asses off constantly. I never had a problem putting the shield up and down with coaches because I always was like, yeah, if you're not hard on me, I'm going to end up fucking around and drinking a case of beer here. But if you just continuously keep stabbing me all over, then I'm just so afraid of my life. Like it's awesome, dude. I thought it was awesome. And I thought the ability of those guys to be able to turn it on and off was impeccable. Because Solari was the same way. He'd be like in a meeting and he'd just be like, God, this is the best you could put out. You knew the game was on Sunday because you're Christian. You'd never swear at you, never cuss you. He'd be like, I'm just disappointed. We went over this. And then you'd get out of the room and he'd be like, hey, put his hands on your shoulder, start squeezing. But hey, how's Dana doing? Kiddos good? Like, dude, you just told me I sucked for 3 fucking hours. What? I thought it was great.
Amazing,
it's weird.
And two, I always took comfort in knowing, and this is going to sound terrible, so you can ding me now. I always took comfort in knowing that I could go to work and my boss could tell me how much they really fucking hate me and nobody else could. And not only that, but I could tell my boss how much I fucking hate them and nobody could do anything about it. Nobody, because how many times you go to work and coach is just like, it fucking sucks. But yes, fuck you. Get out of here. And all of a sudden you walk away and be like, did I just tell Tony to go fuck himself? Shit. I don't know, my balls are dropping today. And then you'd be like, there's no way I could have done this at my other job. No way.
You should try. Yeah, you should try. All of you guys listening out there, I want you to try that at work and see what happens.
No,
don't do that. F themselves. One more for you guys here. Will OC says, "How do players on average think about their degree at college? Is it mostly a joke?"
No, I think
you guys just talked about your amateur league like it's going to last 30 years. Oh yeah.
This isn't a fair question to ask. 2 guys that had careers in the NFL.
Yeah, no,
it's not like because I'm using part of my degree. I got a business management and a minor in entrepreneurship, right? So like I'm using that with starting my own company, right? I started my own company. There's some pieces to that, But majority of the guys that don't play in the NFL, they use the shit out of their degree. Right? Like they get real jobs, they have real careers, like, and all of that's from their degree. So I don't think that's a fair question to ask a guy that played multiple years in the NFL. Because by the time I left college, I was like, I want to go play in the NFL. I don't have a backup plan. And then once you get going into it, the NFL opens up career paths that you never thought would be possible when you were at college. Right? But if you're a guy that
how many guys dick around that they're never going to go to the NFL, but they dick around and don't take getting a degree seriously?
If you get
98% of them
a comm degree or like a history degree or
I think about all the kids I went to school with, and I'm like, dude, what did half of you graduate with? I hope you're able to use it. Like we never went to. It was like insanity how many guys just didn't pay attention. I barely paid attention. We got good grades, but looking back, it was like, what the hell did I really study? I studied history. I was like, dude,
what did you major in?
I was a history major because I loved war, so I loved learning about war. So I took a war history.
To go to college.
I was like, dude, they were like, what do you want to learn? I was like, nothing.
War.
No, I was like, I like to read about war, like the wars that we were in. My brother was a Marine. I thought it was great.
So what were you going to be, a history teacher?
Yeah, history teacher and coach. I don't know. Dude, 8 years old, I was this big. What'd you think I was going to fucking do? That's why I was like, no, I wasn't. But I'll tell you what, I did my due diligence. As soon as I was done, I graduated. And I had to wait.
Was that mom or grandma? That was like, you're getting your degree.
Both. Promised both of them I would get it.
I guarantee you there was a promise.
As soon as I was done, my grandma called me. Nana, shout out to Nana and Amy. Love them to death. My mom, my grandma, besties. My grandma called me and she's like, hey, remember that fucking promise you made? I was like, God damn it, Nana, are you serious? She was like, don't be lazy. I was like, fuck. So I called the school and I go, hey, I'd love to get my degree. And they were like, you're going to have to actually be here physically present. It was a 595 class. I was like, yeah, that ain't fucking happening. So then COVID hit and they opened everything online. And so I just retired and I was like, all right, I'll do it. So I did it for my grandma and my mom. And I had to take this it was the longest class. And it was about, I can't even tell you. It was about the beginning of civilization.
He didn't study.
Dude, it was insane. You should have seen the
Did you go walk? Did you go walk in person?
No.
Oh, you should have went up there and
walked. I had everything sent to me. But I'll tell you what, the guy that followed me, you know how you have people that through the admissions and all that follow you and track you.
Your advisor
actually texted me. Yeah, he was like, dude, I'm super excited for you. He's like, I never thought you'd even be alive. I was like, me too. Now I have a degree. Now look at us.
When your name popped up, I thought it was going to be a funeral invite.
Guaranteed. Thought it was. He's like, dude, I thought you died years ago. Nope. Survived that alcohol poisoning.
Oh my god, dude. I need an alternate universe where Alex was a history teacher / like Phi-Ed teacher at some junior high.
I want an alternate universe
shorts and a whistle
where Alex goes pro as a junior because I want to see what that would have looked like before I got smart. That that would have been fucking insane.
Would you have made it?
Nope. 0% chance. 0 chance. I'm telling you, I remember standing in the fucking shower with Malcolm Jenkins, Beanie Wells, James Laurinaitis, and they were like, what are we doing, boys? And I was like, fuck that. I'm out of here. I can't wait to go party. You know me. I was like, they keep calling me from the NFL saying, you're going to have a lot of fun here. This was like Facebook just came out, so Instagram was not even a thing. No pictures were a big deal. And I remember we were all like, oh no, we got to stay. Thank God I fucking stayed. Because had I left, I guarantee I'd have been dead in 12 months. Dead. For sure. My grandma even told me, she was like, you would not have lasted a year. I was like, no. Thank God I stayed.
Oh,
I know. You made it. Now look at you.
And now here he is.
Now I'm here with you guys.
And
all these fans. Listen, one of these days.
So close, dude.
This slow burn to 20 is killing me. But if we get to 20, maybe I'll throw in a history lesson. Maybe I'll throw some things out there that I've learned.
Please give me an hour lecture on Alex. So we're doing Alex history after 1967.
Alex history, Alex landscaping spinoffs here on the O-Line Command.
Dude, you need your mulching done. You call me. I would. Jay, you need mulching done. You call me. I love mulching. I love it.
I rocked my yard. You only had to do it once.
Oh, dude, talk about a free workout in the sun. Oh, love it.
Hey, next week, Alex, you're gonna power rank. I just power rank 32 quarterbacks. You're gonna power rank 20 wars in world history.
You got it.
Not 20. How about 5?
10. Give me 10.
We'll give you the top 10.
Yeah, okay. Give me your top 10 next year.
Dude, I was in a true story.
UFL Stallions in the conference championship this weekend. Going for it. You guys are on the other side. Maybe a rematch of the championship bout.
Yeah, it's what they say about the UFL. Tough to beat a team twice in the UFL.
Your team is done, Boone. They won one game.
But it whoa.
You picked a slow horse.
I did. I wasn't given many options. There was only like 4 of them. You guys had already picked.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
God. All right, we got to go. Those are your dumb football questions here on O-Line Committee. Keep hitting us up in the YouTube comment section. And for the love of God, please drag us to 20,000 subscribers.
Push us over the finish line.
The subscribe button. We'll see you guys. We're bringing back film reviews this week, too, for the rest of the offseason. Anthony Richardson. Is this the year where Anthony Richardson takes over the National Football League? So keep an eye out for that, too.